Hello everyone! Welcome to the second part of the Pretend to be Mad challenge, Polyship challenge, and we are carrying on with SemiShiraKawaGata. Fun! As always, special thanks to my lovely patrons and all of you who still watch my videos. Don't forget to subscribe to keep up with the uploads, and check out the members only posts with some early access, hopefully. He really didn't like this challenge. Considering how tense things always were when Shirabu was upset, Semi had no illusions about what reaction his behavior would bring. However, a tiny part of him was curious too. He hadn't gotten upset often, so he didn't really know how his boyfriends would react since Shirabu was vastly different personality from him. Would they ask right away? Leave him to simmer and ultimately cool down before approaching? Go for physical affection or try to distract him? He kinda wanted to know. Which, however, didn't change anything about his initial displeasure with it being just a challenge. I think each of them will have a unique way of reacting to it. Well, duh, who would have guessed? He shook his head and entered the flat, shutting the door behind him slightly louder than usual when he noticed Hayato's sneakers already dust in the hallway. If only Kenji was here, he would already be getting an earful for leaving a mess. Regaining focus on his task, he quickly shifted his expression and made his shoulders tense, storming into the living room where Hayato was already lounging on the couch. Lower the volume. I'm not dealing with another noise complaint. Semi just huffed and continued on towards the bedroom, only getting a glimpse of Hayato's raised eyebrow. Well, someone's in a good mood today. You don't say. He slammed the door of their bedroom behind him, letting out a long sigh. His heart still thundered in his chest. But at least he didn't get the feeling that Hayato was particularly hurt by his behavior. Good. Being careful around Taichi will be difficult enough. He startled at the gentle knock behind his back, followed by the door opening again. Hey, everything alright? What do you think? Probably not. It's not every day you come home slamming doors. He gently elbowed Semi's side, apparently ignorant of the low growl Semi let out when he came closer. Come on, what's wrong? Why would you care? Duh, because I'm your boyfriend and you are sulking. Narrowing his eyes at him, Semi stepped back and sat down on the bed, trying for the most scorching glare he could manage. He knew what Hayato was doing, and it didn't annoy him per se, but something about Hayato's approach to when one of them was upset made his skin tingle. If in a good or bad way, he wasn't sure though. Maybe that's how he does it with Kenji too. Tries to rile us up so we stop bottling things and blow up on him instead of some innocent bystander. It did seem like it now that he thought about it. A small jab into his back when Hayato settled next to him, confirming his thought. He really does have a thick skin. What if he said something hurtful? Hey, get out of your head and talk to me. I'm not going to have you grumbling the whole evening. He gently jabbed into Semi's side again, then again, and once more. Come on, no sulking on my watch. What happened? Or maybe he has so much faith in us that we don't mean anything said in anger. It's just... the people that come to the office are so stupid sometimes. It's infuriating. They don't listen when I tell them what they have to do, and then they get upset because it takes too long when they are the reason why it's slow. Like, I know I chose this job, but it's just so frustrating sometimes. He let out a deep sigh, Actually feeling relieved, he let it out even though he was only supposed to pretend. Hayato hummed quietly and then wrapped his arm around his shoulders, pulling him closer to his side. Just because you chose to work as a civil servant doesn't mean you're immune to people being stupid. But you deserve a smack for trying to bottle it up instead of yelling into the pillow. Or, talking to us. I know. Well, that's good. He smiled, stealing a kiss from Semi's lips before he jumped up again. Come on, let's make ourselves a relaxing afternoon before Kenji comes home. Content with how the whole thing went, Semi couldn't help but smile back and let himself get pulled up, following after Hayato, who was already excitedly blabbering about what they could do. He expected things to be slightly more difficult with Shirabu. Sure, his boyfriend was already arrested and back to full health, but no matter how many years they'd spent loving each other, their personalities were still like fire and water. Or maybe like oil and fire, though Semi wasn't sure who was which. At least they didn't argue as often these days, since Shirabu lost the bratty edge over the years, although he was sure Taichi might beg to differ. We'll see, I guess. We can yell at each other a little bit, since no one else is at home at this time. Not that he wanted. He hated when they didn't get along, no matter how big or small the reason would be. Sure, he enjoyed an occasional squabble, but that was the line. He shoved those thoughts into the back of his mind for now and put on his best upset expression as he once again made his way into the living room, surprisingly finding it empty. Huh. Weird. I'm sure he's home. He didn't call though, keeping up the appearance of anger, but did head further into the flat to assess the situation. He had no bad feeling about the relative silence, but it never hurt to check. However, it didn't take him long to hear a rustling of sheets from the second bedroom, and sure enough, he spotted Shirabu arranging the freshly washed duvet and pillows on the bed, most definitely to save Taichi the work. Well, hopefully it's not because someone's coming over. He quickly thought about what to do, but before he could come up with a new plan, Shirabu turned around to him, crease appearing between his brows. Why are you just standing there like this? Can't I? It's weird. He headed back into the living room, making sure his steps were heavier than usual, and plopped down on the couch with a huff. Hey, what was that, huh? Nothing. Oh, so you're being a brat now. Semi sent him a scorching glare, already seeing a pout settling on Shirabu's lips. Really? You are saying that? Yes, because you're being weird. What's going on? Semi paused. Right, Shirabu might have had a very roundabout way to do things regarding feelings and emotions, but there was no doubt in Semi's mind now that he was trying to help. And so he let out a long breath, letting his shoulders slump. I'm just annoyed, I guess. Yeah, figured. The couch cushions dipped under a new weight, the warmth spreading through his skin when Shirabu leaned against his side, hitting his earlier realization home. Annoyance comes and goes, you know? You don't need to have it ruin your whole day. Right. And, I mean, I'm here if you want to talk. Hiding his smile by leaning to kiss Shirabu's temple, Semi hummed in agreement and entwined their fingers together. I know. Thanks. The horrible traffic jam he had been stuck in for the last 20 minutes definitely did not help to improve his mood that evening. As if it wasn't enough, he got yelled at for something that wasn't his fault, had to do double the workload because his coworker just decided to not show up, and on top of that had to deal with the worst case of entitlement he had seen in his life. Now he couldn't even get home to rest. He kept clenching his hands on the steering wheel in hopes he could release some steam like that, but the urge to get out and yell at the top of his lungs until his throat hurt only grew on strength the longer he sat in the car. Or maybe he could punch something. That might help. He barely held back to not kick the door shut behind him, his mind a buzz of noises and jaw clenched. Not even arriving home seemed to help this time, the bubbling frustration making his hands tremble. It's fine, it's gone, I'll just take a nap and it's going to be fine. Unfortunately for his mental state, the flat was rather lively with chatter that evening, it seemed, even sounding an occasional chuckle. Exactly what he didn't need right now. Rather unexpectedly, he found Shirabu in the living room, and Taichi in the kitchen of all places, apparently trying to concoct something on the stove. Dinner, perhaps? That would be new. Taichi gave him a soft smile when he spotted him, just like he always did when he came home. Welcome home. Everything okay? Sounding rather uncertain, his smile wavered when Semi just grunted in response, finding it hard to put his thoughts into words. Perfect. I need a nap. Oh. Yeah, you look like you do. Thanks. Do you want to eat before that? I just want to drink. He pushed around Taichi into the farthest corner of the kitchen, rummaging through the cupboards to find something sweet to drink. He thought of getting an actual shot, but chugging alcohol in front of his boyfriends wasn't something he wanted to do. He turned to get himself a glass, feeling both Shirabu's gaze on him and the careful glances Taichi gave him, which for some reason just irritated him even more. Especially when he stood right in front of the cupboard he needed to get into, blocking everything with his height. Move! Oh, sorry. He stepped aside, somehow exactly into the space Semi needed to get to next. Gritting his teeth, Semi felt his hand tighten around the glass, the loud bang of the cabinet door just making Taichi jump right into his path again. Can you move? You're in my way. Just go somewhere else for fuck's sake. A falling pin could be heard in the silence that settled in the flat after his yells stopped echoing from the walls. For the longest while, neither of them moved, until Taichi pressed his lips together and nodded, rushing away with his head turned away. Whether it was him raising his voice, or the sight of distraught on Taichi's face, most of Semi's fury dissipated there and then. The quiet clap of one of the doors being closed, letting him know he just massively fucked up. Shit. Feeling the glare burning through his back, he turned off the stove to not let their dinner burn, only surprised Shirabu hadn't punched him yet. Although that was more Hayato's reaction to seeing Taichi distressed. He hadn't even finished that thought when the main door opened again, and soon Hayato hurled inside like the storm he was. Hey, having fun without me? What did I miss? He looked around, visibly confused. Where's Taichi? He said he'll cook today. Closed in the other bedroom. What? Why? You can ask Mr. Can't Control My Emotions over there. Semi swallowed the note that Shirabu was the one to talk about emotional control, and then flinched when Hayato glared at him. What did you do? Yelled at him and sent him away. You what? I didn't want that. I wasn't thinking. With one more glare bearing into him, he turned around to tend to the food Taichi started on, and the whole situation only slowly settling in. He had never thought about it, but sitting just 3 by the table when it was supposed to be 4 of them felt really strange and very wrong. Not even Hayato managed to coax Taichi to come out of the room to eat, leaving the table in awkward silence, and Semi getting repeatedly stabbed with 2 sets of eye daggers. Can you two stop? I know I fucked up. Understatement. A huge one. You think I wanted to yell at him? I don't know. Did you? No. Of course not. He sighed, his appetite all gone. But what was he supposed to do now? I'll go talk to him. Are you sure that's a good idea? I gotta at least apologize. He got up and headed to the smaller room at the end of the hallway, hesitating for a moment before he gently knocked on the door. Taichi, can we talk? Please. I know you probably don't want to see me right now, but I don't think an apology through door is good enough. He could just open the door, of course, since he was quite sure he didn't hear the lock, but being invasive on top of everything was not ideal. He waited for what felt like eternity, until finally he heard a feint coming from the inside. His heart ached when he spotted Taichi sitting on the bed as if he had needles under him, the startled look in his eyes reminding him of a doe. He didn't dare to come too close just yet, taking care of sitting on the very edge of the bed. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to yell at you. It's so ironic how I'm always lecturing Kenji about keeping his emotions in check while I can't do it either. Giving a barely visible nod, Taichi clenched his hands between his knees, something Semi knew Hayato taught him to prevent him from digging his nails into his skin. I know you didn't mean it. Yeah, but I'm still sorry, really. I was mad from work and took it out on the closest person. He risked reaching for Taichi's hand, glad when he didn't feel him flinch. His hands were trembling though, and it didn't take a genius to guess why. You didn't deserve that. I'm sorry. It's fine. I don't know why it makes me like this. I know you wouldn't hit me or anything. Hey, shh. It's not your fault. It's probably a reflex. You can't do anything about that. He bit hard on his lip, instinctively caressing the back of Taichi's hand with his thumb. Can you forgive me? He probably had no right to ask for forgiveness, not until he did something to actually deserve it, but the jerky nod from Taichi was a good start into making it up to him process. He could do much more now that he knew Taichi wasn't scared of him. Want to get something to eat? That fish you made is delicious. Taichi's face brightened with the mention of fish, relieving some of the pressure on Semi's chest. Is it? Yeah. It would be a shame if you didn't try it. Come on. He gently tugged on Taichi's hand, glad when he didn't protest and actually quite eagerly followed him out of the bedroom. He wouldn't say he had won, not in the slightest, but it was a good beginning. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I actually had this part with Semi and Taichi planned for something entirely different and very much later in the story. But yeah, I got kind of bored of waiting, to be honest, and it fit quite well. So yeah, you got this scene a little earlier than it was planned. But hey, as long as it fits, it's good. And the following parts will still be, or hopefully will be, as impactful without it as it would be with it. If you have any requests or ideas, the request form is linked in the video description. See you next time!